Hello and welcome to the Chatterbox Letters podcast. I am going to be reading a very large chatter-like letter to my listeners. This book, aka Chatter Letter, is called Holes. I hope you will enjoy as I read Holes in audio format. I will be reading chapter by chapter so it seems interesting as you are curious to know the whole story at its entirety. Download or introduce Holes by Louis Sachar. I'll be reading chapter 22 of the book Holes. All right, let me go ahead and get the book ready. All right, here it goes. Stanley was the first one finished. He spat in his hole, then showered and changed into his cleaner set of clothes. It had been 3 days since the laundry was done, so even his clean set of dirty and smelly. Tomorrow these would become his work clothes, and the other set would be washed. All right. Okay. He could think of no reason why Zero would dig his hole for him. Zero didn't even get all the sunflower seeds. I guess he likes to dig holes, Armpit had said. He's a male, a mule. What is that? A male, a mule? Trying to figure this out. Zigzag said, I think he eats dirt. Moles don't eat dirt. X-Ray had pointed that out. Worms eat dirt. Hey, Zero, Squid asked, are you a mole or worm? Zero had said nothing. Stanley never even thanked him, but he sat on his hat or on his cot and waited for Zero to return from the shower room. All right, let me get to the next page. All right. Thanks, he had said. Zero entered through the tent flap. Zero glanced at him, then went over to the crates where he deposited his dirt clothes and towel. Why'd you help me? Stanley asked. Zero turned around. You didn't steal the sunflower seeds, he said. So neither did you, said Stanley. Zero stared at him. His eyes seemed to expand, and it was about as if Zero was looking right through him. You didn't steal the sneakers, he said. Stanley said nothing. He watched Zero walk out of the tent. If anybody had X-ray vision, it was Zero. Wait, he called, then hurried out after him. Zero had Zero had stopped just outside the tent, and Stanley almost ran into him. I'll try to teach you to read if you want, Stanley offered. I don't know if I know how to teach, but I am not the worm. I'm not the worn out today, since you dig a lot of my holes. A big smile spread across Zero's face. They returned to the tent where they were less likely to be bothered. Stanley got his hit box of stationery and a pen out of his crate. Then he sat on the ground. Did you know the alphabet? Stanley asked. For a second he thought he saw a flash of defiance in Zero's eyes, but then it passed. I think I know some of it, Zero said. A, B, C, D. Keep going, said Stanley. Zero even looked upward. E. F, Stanley said. G, said the roach. Zero. He blew some air out of his side of his mouth. H, R, K, P. H, I, J, K. L, said Stanley. That's right, said Zero. I've heard it before. I just didn't have it mentioned exactly. That's all right, said Stanley. Here I'll say the words thing just to kind of refresh your memory, then you can try it. He recruited the alphabet for Zero, and then Zero repeated it without a struggle or a mistake. Not bad for a kid who have never seen Sesame Street. All right. Well, I've heard it before somewhere, Zero said, trying to act like it was nothing. But his big smile gave him away. The next step was harder. Stanley had to figure out how to teach him to recognize each letter. He gave Zero a piece of paper and took a piece for himself. I guess we'll start with A. He pointed a capital A, then Zero copied it on a sheet of paper. The paper wasn't lined, which made it more difficult. But Zero A wasn't bad, just a little big. Stanley told him he needed to write a smaller or close to they'd run out of paper real quick. Actually, there are two ways to write each letter, Stanley said, as he realized that that was going to be even harder than he thought. That's a capital A, but usually you would see a small a. You don't have capitals at the beginning of a word, and only if it's the start of a sentence or if it's proper room, like a name. All right, let me go to the next page. Bear with me. All right. Zero nodded as he understood, but Stanley knew he had made very little sense. He printed a lowercase a and Zero copied it. So there are 52, said Zero. Stanley didn't know what he was talking about. Instead of 26 letters, here are 52. Stanley looked at him, surprised. I guess that's right. You figured that out, he asked. Zero, I keep messing up tonight. Zero said nothing. Did you add? Zero said nothing. You multiply. Did you multiply? That's just how many there are, said Zero. Stanley raised the lower one shoulder. He didn't even know how Zero had, or how Zero knew there was a 26 in the first place. Did you count them as he recruited them? He had Zero write a few more upper and lower case a's, and then he moved on to capital B. This was going to take a long time, he realized. You can reach me 10 letters a day, suggested Zero. 5 capital, 5 smalls. After 5 days, I'll know them all, except the last day I have to do 12. 6 equals and smalls. Agent Stanley stared at him, amazed that he was able to figure all that out. Zero must have thought he was staring for a different reason, because he had said, I'll dig part of your hole every day. I can dig for about him for an hour, and then you can reach me for an hour. And since I am a fast digger anyway, our holes will get done short time. I won't have to wait for you. Okay, Stanley agreed. As Zero was painting his bees, Stanley asked him how he figured out it would take 5 days. Do you multiply? Do you divide? There is just one, is it, Zero said. It's good month, said Stanley. I am stupid, Zero said. I know everybody thinks I am. I just don't like answering their questions. Later that night, as he lay on his cot, Stanley reconsidered the deal he had made with Zero. Getting a break every day would be a relief, but he knew X-Ray wouldn't like it. He wondered if there might be some way Zero would agree to dig part of X's hole as well. But then again, why should he? I'm the teaching Zero. I need this break, as I'll have the energy to teach him. Excuse me. I am the one who took the blame for the sunflower seeds. I'm the one who Mr. Sir is mad at. He closed his eyes, and images from the warden's cabin floated inside its head and her red fingernail. Mr. Sir writing as the floor he flowered makeup kit. He opened his eyes. He suddenly realized where he'd seen the gold tube before. He had seen it with his number on his mother's bathroom. He'd seen it again in the warden's cabin. It was full of lipstick containers. All right, let's see if I got a next page. Yes, I do. He felt a bit astonished. His month, okay, excuse me, I'm cracking up here. I will try and get this finished. He felt a jolt of astonishment. His mouth shortly formed the name Kate Barlow, as he wondered if it really could have belonged to Kissing Outlaw. Okay, I just read chapter 22 of Holes. I hope everyone appreciated. I had a lot of nicks in my podcast where I messed up reading and all that, because I am a little tired right now. But if you can like, share, subscribe to my podcast, hit that notification button to know when I go live. Ring that bell for updates on my podcast. If you have a chatter letter that you would like to have broadcast on my podcast, please send that chatter letter to the Chatterbox Letters Podcast, Post Office Box 5556, Lakeland, Florida 33807. You can write anything you want to write about in your chatter letter. Please keep it clean. Your words clear and discreet. All right. Please, everyone, please don't hesitate to send your letter to me. You always procrastinate and send your letter today.